is here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
America, Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811. 877-381-3811. I need to read you this quote again from a text message from Hunter Biden that the House and Ways Means Committee has. We've asked the chairman of that committee to come on the program. We asked yesterday at a conflict. We asked today at a conflict, so we will not ask again. What I will do, though, is talk to the facts that are in the public record. Now, a lot follows from what I'm about to read. We read this out loud again last evening while most of the media were covering the submersible. And much of the media is still covering the submersible. Here's what the transcript says that was provided by the committee. I'm sitting here with my father, this is Hunter, and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled. And he's talking to this communist Chinese official and phony businessman. Tell the director that I would like to resolve this now before it gets out of hand. And now means tonight. And Z, that's the initial he uses or nickname for his communist Chinese official buddy. If I get a call or text from anyone involved in this other than you, Zhang, or the chairman, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows, my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. Do you remember how the Democrats, the phony whistleblower who was a Biden guy, you remember how they all seized on this issue? On the phone call with Trump and the Ukraine, and they insisted it was a quid pro quo when it was no such thing. It was no such thing. That he was shaking down Zelensky to go after the Bidens. No, it wasn't. He never did. Now here, this is black and white. He's saying, I'm sitting here next to my father, the vice president, and we want our money, millions, to the communist Chinese. Now we're trying to determine if he sat next to his father or not, but his father will not make himself accessible to serious questioning. Excuse me. And of course, the Attorney General of the United States refuses to appoint a special counsel to get Biden under oath. It's really quite appalling. But things flow from there. Merrick Garland at a news conference today was asked about these things. But I love the way the media goes. Republicans in Congress say, rather than ask him tough questions, Republicans in Congress say, cut one, go.
Republicans in Congress have flirted with the idea of holding the FBI director in contempt. It's become a talking point on the campaign trail. the alleged corruption in the FBI and other federal law enforcement agencies. Do the American people have cause to be concerned about the integrity of the components of this Justice Department? And what do you have to say about...
If you're a real reporter, the way you ask the question is raise some of the issues that are troubling about the FBI and the Justice Department. You have the Durham report. You have more than that. You have the leaks coming out of the Department of Justice. Go ahead.
Other acting.
I certainly understand that some have chosen to attack the integrity of the Justice Department as components.
Actually, we're attacking more directly your integrity. Let's do something we have never done, Mr. Producer. Are you prepared? Let's reach out to the Attorney General of the United States and ask him to come on the program to defend the integrity of the Justice Department. We're actually condemning the Department of Justice, but even more, we're condemning him. Go ahead.
Employees, by claiming that we do not treat like cases alike, this constitutes an attack on an institution that is essential to American democracy.
No, you schmuck. You're attacking an institution that is essential to America. Now, what the reporter should have said, remember that National School Board Association letter that you and your department and other departments of the Biden administration helped craft? And you concealed that information from the American people until what's-his-name on the radio figured it out? Remember that? That was problematic, don't you think? Prosecuting pro-lifers. I think that's problematic, don't you, Mr. Attorney General? Oh, yeah. And we can go on, can't we, America? I know people out there yelling, but I don't have time to go through the whole list. Go ahead.
And essential to the safety of the American people. Nothing could be further from the truth. You've all heard me say many times that we make our cases
Let's move on. Cut to, Mr. Producer. Go.
Yesterday, whistleblower testimony came out from an IRS supervisory special agent, current supervisory special agent, who insists he was in a meeting with US Attorney David Weiss, who in October 2022 claimed in front of multiple people that he was told not to pursue the Hunter Biden investigation, not to bring charges in 2022. You said previously you've stayed out of the Hunter Biden investigation. It's been on David Weiss to figure that out. Can you once and for all shed a little light? There seems to be a little confusion on what's going on here.
I'd be happy to. As I said at the outset, Mr. Weiss, who was appointed by President Trump.
Who cares who he was appointed by? Now, if that matters, you were appointed by Biden. How come you haven't recused yourself from all Biden matters? You know, it's not even just a matter of not appointing a special counsel in the case of Biden. He'd have to recuse himself. Then the deputy would have to recuse herself. Then the associate would have to accuse herself. So we can get down to about the sixth level, a careerist. I'm telling you the truth. That's the way it's supposed to work. If you're not going to appoint a special counsel, you need to recuse yourself. Go ahead.
U.S. Attorney in Delaware and assigned this matter during the previous administration would be permitted to continue his investigation and to make a decision to prosecute any way in which he wanted to and in any district in which he wanted to. Mr. Weiss has since sent a letter to the House Judiciary Committee confirming that he had that authority. I don't know how it would be possible for anybody to block him from bringing a prosecution, given that he has this authority.
And he was never told no.
I say he was given complete authority to make all decisions on his own.
Now, you folks are smart. He followed up the Fox reporter did. And he was still never told no, that is not to prosecute. And Garland reiterates, he was given complete authority to make all decisions on his own. That wasn't the question. Was he ever told no? Isn't that a squirrely response, Mr. Producer? Isn't the answer to that no? That's right. He was never told no. But he didn't say that. He was given the authority. to make all decisions on his own. Okay, I've made a decision on my own. No, I'm sorry, you can't go forward. He still made a decision on his own. I mean, this is what we're down to, semantics, playing word games. Now, Mr. Weiss won't make himself available for questioning. Why not? He spent the last 5 years, supposedly, investigating Hunter Biden. The case has come to a close with a cover-up. That's right, I said it! The case has come to a close with a cover-up. Not interested in letters or what Garland thinks. Mr. Weiss needs to be questioned. But it's an ongoing investigation. No, it's not. That's a lie, and that's part of the cover-up. And besides, you got Joe Biden running for re-election. The American people have a right to know these things, America. Mr. Weiss had all the authority in the world. Now, I can tell you on my own. He doesn't have the authority to roll into another district and just start taking over. We already know that an assistant United States attorney in one of the districts blocked him from getting a warrant to investigating or digging into the potential of information in Wilmington, Delaware, in one of the guest houses. Remember that, Mr. Producer, from last night? Now, these whistleblowers are on the record. They're on the record with Congress under penalty of perjury and potential contempt. They're on the record. Garland's not. Weiss isn't. None of them are. The whistleblowers have put their entire careers on the line. I thought we're supposed to praise and celebrate whistleblowers, not just the ones that go after Trump. But aren't we supposed to do that? Yeah. Cut 3, go.
One of the allegations that one of the IRS supervisors apparently made involved the fact that Mr. Weiss reportedly wanted to have the powers you've conferred on special counsels. Was that request ever made? And if so, why did you reject it?
It was not. The only person with authority to make somebody a special counsel or refuse to make somebody a special counsel is the Attorney General. Mr. Weiss never made that request to me.
Now, we have a serious issue here, America. We have a whistleblower who has said absolutely did. And he's on the record. Mr. Weiss won't talk. Mr. Weiss won't talk. Then we have the Attorney General covering his ass. Mr. Weiss can talk now. He's got people talking for him. He's got people inferring things. He's got people projecting things. The Attorney General, defense counsel for Hunter Biden. But we don't get to hear from Mr. Weiss, not even before the election. It's all prosecution of Trump all the time. That's it. Yes, that's it. It's a cover-up. Another cover-up. You are witnessing another cover-up. But he did say, Garland, I'm in charge of whether we appoint a special counsel or not. We've got more bases for appointing a special counsel against Joe Biden than any case ever brought. Cut 4, go.
Do you think that a special counsel, can you explain the rationale for not appointing a special counsel in this case?
Sure.
By the way, whoever asked that question, you deserve a Pulitzer. First time anybody's really confronted him with that. Go ahead.
In fact, more authority than a special counsel would have. He had and has complete authority, as I said, to bring a case anywhere he wants in his discretion.
Well, that's interesting. Complete authority. Let me tell you a little secret, America. If Mr. Weiss wanted to bring a case in another state other than Delaware, he'd have to get the Attorney General's permission. You don't just get a blank check, and the Attorney General would have to let the U.S. Attorney and other federal law enforcement officials in that particular region or state know about it. Now, how would I know this? Because I worked for an attorney general. Garland knows this too. Cut 5, go.
With the exception of what you've said today, you've deferred all other questions related to the Hunter Biden investigation to Mr. Weiss. Mr. Weiss has declined to comment on any of this, with the exception of his letter to the House Judiciary that just says that he had the ultimate authority to charge and where to charge. But on these specific allegations that these whistleblowers have brought forward, there's very detailed allegations. Would you authorize him to answer to some of the more specific allegations that these IRS whistleblowers have come forward with?
I would support Mr. Weiss explaining or testifying on these matters when he deems it appropriate.
Now, again, more squirrely words there. He would support it when he deems it appropriate. That wasn't the question. Will you authorize him to go speak? And he didn't. I hope Republicans in Congress circle back and say, okay, the question is not even a question. Authorize him to speak. We want his testimony. We have conflicts in testimony, or at least positions. We need to resolve them now. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
If we've learned anything over the past 2 years, it's that unexpected things can happen. For example, average IRA and 401k balances fell 20% last year, according to Fidelity. We didn't expect that. But here's something that could help if you have an IRA or 401k. Physical gold in your IRA. The World Gold Council says even central banks are buying tons of gold. Now, what does that tell you? Learn why many Americans are turning to a gold IRA with Augusta Precious Metals. They're the best. I recommend them to my friends and family. You should call Augusta and get their ultimate guide to gold IRAs. Feels good to know there's another savings option. Diversity is the key. Call Augusta Precious Metals at 8774-GOLD-IRA. That's 8774-GOLD-IRA, 8774-GOLD-IRA. Consult your financial professionals before making investment decisions and get disclosures at AugustaPreciousMetals.com. Do you folks notice the only leaks that come out of the Department of Injustice and the Federal Bureau of the Stasi, the U.S. Attorney's offices, and Jack the Ripper Reed, these leaks to the New York Slimes and the Washington Compost et al. Have you noticed, I should say, etc. et al. Would be the individual, but you notice it's never against Democrats, never against the Bidens. It's always against Trump and Republicans. Isn't that amazing? Amazing how that works. Place is really locked down and buttoned up when it comes to Biden. And have you noticed also the Keystone Cops game they play? The idiots at the White House, the spokes idiots, and we'll get to that, talk to the White House counsel. White House counsel puts out some pablum. Then they tell you to go to justice. You go to justice. They can't comment. Isn't that amazing? But on Trump, they can't leak enough. Or any other Republican for that matter, but especially Trump. Lots more. I'll be right back. If we've learned anything over the past 2 years, it's that unexpected things can happen. For example, average IRA and 401k balances fell 20% last year, according to Fidelity. We didn't expect that. But here's something that could help if you have an IRA or 401k. Physical gold in your IRA. The World Gold Council says even central banks are buying tons of gold. Now, what does that tell you? Learn why many Americans are turning to a gold IRA with Augusta Precious Metals. They're the best. I recommend them to my friends and family. You should call Augusta and get their ultimate guide to gold IRAs. Feels good to know there's another savings option. Diversity is the key. Call Augusta Precious Metals at 8774-GOLD-IRA. That's 8774-GOLD-IRA, 8774-GOLD-IRA. Consult your financial professionals before making investment decisions and get disclosures at AugustaPreciousMetals.com.
Mark Levin, making conservatism great again. Dial in now, 877-381-3811.
You know, Mr. Producer, working conditions at Starbucks, it's just unbearable. It's unbearable. Like working at a sweat house. So they're unionizing. Do you know this? Or they're trying to unionize Starbucks. When I go into Starbucks, which is at least 2-3 times a year, max, but you can't miss them at the airports. It's where the long lines are there in the customer service desk. And when you look there, most of the people working there, not all, please don't call, not all, most of them seem to be in their late 20s, early 30s. Most, not all, seem to be Caucasoids. Wouldn't you guess, Mr. Producer? Mostly Caucasoids, I would say. Not exclusively. Hello, I've said it twice. You're already paying, about $5 a cup of coffee, give or take. And no offense, I don't even like their coffee, so I'm not a big coffee guy to begin with. But that said, the working conditions there are unbearable, aren't they? And their demand is, we have a right to show LGBTQ plus colors in Starbucks. I remember the old days when we had unions because working conditions really were unbearable. Sweatshops and so forth, people would argue for unions and so forth. Now it's the LGBTQ colors. Oh my. And you wonder why so many private sector businesses don't want to get involved with these unions. It's not even over wages half the time. It's over this. Who gets to run the store? They just want to sell their damn coffee. No. BlackRock, the big financial bugaboo there, worth about 10 trillion, 15 trillion in your pension assets, to put out the word. That's the real mobster operation. I talk about it a lot in my new book, by the way, but that's not why I'm bringing it up. I want to continue with this Hunter Biden stuff, but before I do, I'm just too anxious. I can't control myself, Mr. Producer. There were events today. The number of Republican candidates running for the presidential nomination, the GOP, and they spoke to the Faith and Freedom Coalition. I remember when they used to invite me to speak, Mr. Producer. What happened to them? I have faith, and I believe in freedom. Anyway, there is the New Jersey Hindenburg. He shows up. Expects a big welcome, no doubt. And he's been very good on faith issues, hasn't he? No, not in the least. He's a putz. But let's listen to this. Cut 12, go.
There are a lot of people who wonder, after I was the first candidate to endorse Donald Trump in 2016, the very first.
Because you're an opportunist. That's why. And now you attack him. You're an opportunist. To defend him now against what's going on against him by the Marxists, by the police state, by the Biden administration of Democrats, would show some guts. You have no guts. And let us not confuse obesity with guts. Go ahead.
After he made me chairman of his transition.
Boy, you got some good ones there, genius, over there at the Defense Department. I forget that clown's name, and so many. The first wave of Trump appointments were the worst. And Big Boy here was in charge of them. But let's go ahead. Go.
Chairman of his Opioid and Drug Abuse Commission. And this one will keep you up at night, everybody, after I played Hillary Clinton in debate prep.
He played Hillary Clinton in debate prep. Where did they find a dress to fit him, Mr. Producer? I'd love to see that. And was he able to walk on high heels? I doubt it. Probably broke a few of them. Did you wear a wig, lipstick? What did you do exactly? Playing Hillary Clinton. Did you put together a fake dossier and almost drive the nation to a civil war? Did you do that too? Playing Hillary Clinton. I don't think Bill hit on you, did he? Go ahead.
Be able to sleep thinking about that one tonight. And after I played Joe Biden in debate prep in 2020, why am I running for president of the United States? I'm running because he's let us down. He has let us down because he's unwilling. He's unwilling to take responsibility for any of the mistakes that were made, any of the faults that he has, and any of the things that he's done. And that is not leadership, everybody.
See, he's not running for president of the United States. He's running to try and destroy Trump. Folks, you know that, but you got to tell other people that he's a kamikaze. That's what he is. He's a kamikaze for the rhinos. In his case, rhino means rhino. He's a kamikaze. He's got no record to run on. He's got no program that makes any sense. What's he going to say? So he's running to stop Trump. But there's a lot of candidates running. He doesn't have to run to stop Trump. Well, what does this guy do for a living? He must have made a lot of money on a book, but he sold like 12 of them. Go ahead.
Leadership. And you can boo all you want.
Boo! Look how he yells at the audience, Mr. Tough Guy. The guy is as wide as he is tall as he rolls through the audience, you know. No offense. Look, I've told you before, I am the chairman of Fatties United, or FU. So I understand. I'm a little bit on the chubby side. I need to lose 25, 30 pounds. My wife and I know I need to lose 25, 30 pounds. But I don't need to lose 125 and 130 pounds. Anyway, go ahead.
Our faith teaches us that people...
he's going to talk about faith. What a Renaissance man, except when he's wearing Hillary Clinton's outfit. What a Renaissance man this guy is. Unbelievable. Go ahead.
Responsibility for what they do.
Whatever did happen to that Bridgegate thing, Mr. Producer? He was cleared, right? I believe he was. Was cleared. Bridgegate. Can anybody name 3 things the man did that had a profound effect on New Jersey in a positive way? And have been lasting? Are conservatives, Republicans, people who just want to be left alone, are they fleeing to New Jersey? Are they flocking to New Jersey? Why not? Well, let me quote my mother-in-law, who's very quotable and fantastic. She has a beautiful home in New Jersey. And you know what she says, Mr. Producer? I wish I could lift this home up and move it somewhere else. The taxes are smothering. The rules are devouring. You get almost nothing back for any of it. What about the police? They attack their own police. They don't back the cops in New Jersey. They're Democrats. They're Democrats. All right, let's circle back. I did want to get to that. I didn't want to lose it. All right. We have all this Hunter Biden stuff, right? Well, here we are. Friends at Breitbart. And what would we do without them? MRC and so forth. ABC, CBS evening programming ignored bombshell whistleblower claims of Hunter Biden's preferential treatment from the Department of Justice. So if you watch ABC or CBS, you didn't even know about it, unless you listen to this show. ABC's World News Tonight, a.k.a. World Snooze Tonight, and CBS Evening News, a.k.a. CBS Evening Propaganda, on Thursday evening, they ignored the bombshell IRS whistleblower allegations that Hunter Biden received preferential treatment from the DOJ regarding probes into tax violation. No. Unless it's a leak about Trump, we don't run with it. That's policy. Ask Jake Tapper. He'll tell you. Thursday morning, House Republicans released transcripts of 2 IRS whistleblowers. Whistleblowers! One of whom provided evidence that Joe Biden was present when Hunter Biden pressured a Chinese business partner to send them millions of dollars. Wow. Whistleblower? Yes. Joe? and Hunter tied together? Yes. Not a very pretty sight either. Second whistleblower also said the DOJ interfered in the effort to investigate Hunter Biden for tax crimes, although Joe Biden's attorney general recently claimed otherwise. Well, he does those sorts of things, you know. But ABC and CBS evening news programming ignored the whistleblower's publicly available testimony provided by the House Ways and Means Committee. Their decision to ignore the allegations follows a historical pattern of shielding their viewers from allegations of Biden family wrongdoing. Bullet! In October 2021, ABC, CBS, and NBC spent 0 seconds reporting on Joe and Hunter Biden's alleged shared bank account, the RNC's research team found. Bullet! In June 2022, ABC News, NBC News, and CBS News aired only 298 seconds, a.k.a. 4.5 minutes, on Hunter Biden's laptop from hell since March 16, when the New York Slimes confirmed authentication of the laptop, according to the MRC. Bullet! In June, the network news channels ABC, CBS, and NBC spent 0 time on the alleged Biden bribery scandal compared to 291 minutes on the Trump indictment, according to a media watchdog report. Bullet! In addition, ABC News acknowledged in March the legacy outlet refused to review Hunter Biden's abandoned laptop from hell, all while reporting on the infamous laptop story by printing scoops from Hunter's legal team. How do you like that? How do you like that, America? Why is that? Because the media suck. They're corrupt. And they always have been, actually, throughout my life. But in particular, excuse me, cholera. But in particular now. In particular now. So, there's some questions asked about this. I want to do this when we come back. Otherwise, we'll run out of time. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
If we've learned anything over the past 2 years, it's that unexpected things can happen. For example, average IRA and 401k balances fell 20% last year, according to Fidelity. We didn't expect that, but here's something that could help if you have an IRA or 401k. Physical gold in your IRA. The World Gold Council says even central banks are buying tons of gold. Now, what does that tell you? Learn why many Americans are turning to a gold IRA with Augusta Precious Metals. They're the best. I recommend them to my friends and family. You should call Augusta and get their ultimate guide to gold IRAs. Feels good to know there's another savings option. Diversity is the key. Call Augusta Precious Metals at 8774-GOLD-IRA. That's 8774-GOLD-IRA, 8774-GOLD-IRA. Consult your financial professionals before making investment decisions and get disclosures at AugustaPreciousMetals.com. Don't forget, I don't mention this enough, our podcast. I only mention it 2 or 3 times a month. Some stations mention it 2 or 3 times an hour. I should be doing it more. You can find all my podcast interviews and specials on YouTube, you know. YouTube.@MarkLevin.show. That's YouTube.@MarkLevin.show. Or just search Mark Levin Show on YouTube. It's all right there. It's very cool. We just set it up. We developed it. There's all kinds of information there. For the podcast, you can also go to MarkLevinShow.com, our mother site, our mothership site, I should say. Mothers, too, by the way. That's the big site we have for all things Levin. You can click on the audio rewind and select your favorite platform, or search Mark Levin Show on your favorite podcast platform. Either way, I've gummed that up enough that hopefully you can follow us, what we're talking about there. You know, as we talk about all these subjects, what is missing when we talk about what's going on at the Department of Justice? When we talk about the propagandists at the White House? When we talk about all their scandals, when we talk about what they're doing to our country, when we talk about them, you hear people talk about immigration, and they're right. What's been going on there? What is missing? What's missing is what's at the center of it all, the Democrat Party, and this is the problem. We have got to force people to think as we are thinking. that there is a political entity, it's really even now a cultural entity in this country, that's different than anything we've ever seen. It's not like the Republican Party or some independent party, as despicable as they can be. I'm not talking about them. There is an entity in this country that has created itself, that has made itself as a political party that's more than a political party. It's a poison. It's a poison pill that we swallow in this country. We have fought wars because of the Democrat Party. I mean, within our own country. They're the ones that supported slavery. They're the ones that led the Confederacy. They're the ones that were participating in the Klan and defended them. They're the ones that supported lynching right up into the 1940s, for God's sakes. They're the ones who kept little black kids and little white kids segregated and now want to do it again. We've got to be able to call it what it is. And so I want to thank those of you, since my announcement 3 days ago about the Democrat Party Hates America book, I want to thank those of you who've jumped in with both feet. You've gone to Amazon and others, Books A Million and Barnes & Noble online. I want to thank those of you who are jumping ahead and getting the pre-orders. It's very, very important that we drive it up as much as we possibly can and show the country that a book named The Democrat Party Hates America is not only truthful, it's crucially important that it get in as many hands as possible. You know, folks, many of you say to me all the time, I don't understand why the Democrats do this, their party does that, don't they love the country? Or my kid, you know, I sent him to college or sent her to college. He said, in schools, they're doing... I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help. Early orders, pre-orders of the Democrat Party Hates America. It's a gloves off. It is straightforward. It is straight talking. Are very, very important to this cause. And once you get it, please read it, because it's also very, very important to this cause. And we're going to spend time on it. We get into their anti-black racism. We get into their now anti-white racism. We get into their endless anti-Semitism. We get into how they've changed the language over a century and a half. How they try to brainwash and indoctrinate. We get into how they've devoured every corner of our culture, including the all-important free press, such as it is today. And it's not just about history. It's not just about philosophy. They're all in there. It's not just about current events. It's in there, too. But you will see what will become, I think, a slam dunk, really, prosecutor's case, if you will, on what is a totalitarian party, like totalitarian parties in other parts of the country, other parts of the world. Please jump on Amazon.com right now. You can order The Democrat Party Hates America. You can go to Barnes & Noble or Books A Million sites. Do the same. We're counting on you here. I'll be right back. This segment of the podcast is exclusively sponsored by Pure Talk. Pure Talk offers great coverage and can save your family money on your wireless bill every single month. Go to puretalk.com to find the plan that's right for you. Thank you again for listening, and thank you so much for this sponsorship, Pure Talk.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, there's trouble in paradise. That would be Russia. I'll get to that shortly. But we can't ignore John Kirby. I mean, we can, but it's not worth ignoring him right now. He was at a briefing today. James Rosen really sticks it to him. I like James Rosen. Used to be at Fox. Where is he now? OAN or somewhere? Newsmax? All right. This is James Rosen, and then John Kirby. Cut 6, go.
The House Ways and Means Committee yesterday released documents, their authenticity nowhere challenged. That included a July 2017 WhatsApp message sent by Hunter Biden to Henry Zhao, a Chinese Communist Party official. which stated in its entirety, and I quote, "I am sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled. Tell the director that I would like to resolve this now before it gets out of hand, and now means tonight. And Z, if I get a call or text from anyone involved in this other than you, Zhang, or the chairman, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows, and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father," unquote. So just a couple of questions about this. First, does this not undermine the president's claim during the 2020 campaign and the reaffirmations of that claim by his two press secretaries since then, that he never once discussed his son's overseas business dealings with him?
No, and I'm not going to comment further on this. James, let me save you some. Let me save you some breath.
You know, I am sick and tired of these Stalinist apparatchiks in front of these microphones who are supposed... The reason for a press event is to communicate, to provide information to the American people. This is a big damn deal. That text is a big damn deal. It implicates the President of the United States by his son in a massive shakedown of a communist Chinese official, accompanied by threats, with his son saying he's sitting next to his father. Now, what's it going to take this seriously? Now, Kirby knew he was going to be asked the question. Jean-Pierre What's-Her-Ass, she knew she was going to be asked the question. They all know they're going to be asked the question, so they're all told to play rope-a-dope. And they act offended when a real reporter like Rosen poses the question. They're offended? I saw an interview of Donald Trump this week, and I see them every week. He's asked offensive questions left and right. Left and right. They can't even get to Joe Biden. That's how bad it is. These are his mobster mouthpieces. They can't even get to Joe Biden. And as I just explained, thanks to MRC and Breitbart, you have two major networks that didn't even cover this last night. In fact, they covered it up with a pillow. They suffocated it. Jean-Pierre at the White House today. Cut 7. Go.
Kirby wouldn't answer James's question, though. Are you going to answer the question? It's not a reasonable question to ask whether the President of the United States was involved, as this message seems to suggest.
This guy's a reporter for one of the corrupt media outlets. He's not even a conservative. Go ahead.
Of coercive conversation for business dealings by his son. Is that something, if he wasn't, then maybe you should tell us.
So here's the thing, and I appreciate the question. I believe my colleague at the White House Counsel has answered this question already, has dealt with this.
Why don't you give it a shot? Why don't you try and answer it? And by the way, why is the White House Counsel's office involved in answering questions like this? The White House Counsel's office is not supposed to be the president's personal law firm. The White House Counsel's office is supposed to deal with official business. So why is hello, reporters. So why is the White House Counsel's office constantly being asked to answer questions about Hunter Biden and his relationships with his father? Go ahead.
I just don't have anything to share outside of what my colleagues have shared.
I have a question. Did you ask... Did you, as a moron, ask your moron boss? Did you? I don't have anything to share. Yeah, you don't have anything to share. You know why, America? It's a cover-up. It's been and the biggest thing is this guy Garland. How the hell do you not appoint a special counsel to investigate Joe Biden? Can any lawyer call me? Let's do it even better. Any former federal prosecutor who appears on MSNBC or CNN. Can you please tell me how you don't appoint a special counsel in this case? Mr. Producer, leave one of the lines open. No fakers. No, fakers, because we'll make sure you're not hurt anyway. We'll dump you, we call it. Dump you. You'll be in cyberspace for the rest of your life. It's a cover-up. The Democrat Party, it's a cover-up. They've been covering up for Biden since the moment he stepped into the Oval Office. That's what's going on. Yeah. It's really quite amazing, isn't it? Then they bring on these. We have a CNN senior legal analyst. Oh, yeah, senior analyst. But you bring up Hillary Clinton in the same sentence as Donald Trump. No, reasonable prosecutor would have charged Hillary. No. I guess that means the Jack the Ripper Smith is unreal. No, it's totally different. You don't understand. Ellie Honig, CNN legal analyst on Firing Line. So bad is this show Firing Line that they have to copy the name from Firing Line. I remember when Firing Line was great. Does this show up against me, Mr. Producer? I don't even know. Does anybody know? Nobody knows. It's on CNN. Nobody knows anything. CNN, where the news goes and nobody watches. Democracy dies in darkness. No, democracy's dying right now at the hands of the Democrat Party and their media hacks. But anyway, Ellie, whatever, Honig, CNN senior legal analyst, is on Firing Line. Boy, do we miss Bill Buckley, don't we? Instead, we get this. No, it's a very close call when it comes to Hunter. Very close. Cut 9, go.
So first of all, I don't necessarily agree with James Comey based on what we know about the case. I don't agree that no reasonable prosecutor would have charged Hillary Clinton. I do think there are reasonable prosecutors that could have charged Hillary Clinton. I think it's a very close call. If the question is, well, what's the difference between the Hillary Clinton case, which is right on the razor's edge, and the Trump case, I think it's a couple things. First of all, the nature of the documents. Hillary Clinton had some documents that had classified markings.
Pal. Just because somebody talks fast doesn't mean they're smart. Remember the guy on TV that used to sell toilet paper and he talked like, what was it, 10 seconds a second, 10 words a second? Or sometimes, when they're required by law to read, there's not endorsed by doctors, blah, blah, blah. He's one of those. He's saying the nature of the documents. Number one, I thought these documents were secret. Ladies and gentlemen, we only know about these documents as a result of the government's filings and leaks to the Washington Post and New York Times. Not because of Trump. They haven't leaked anything. The anonymous government sources. So think about that. They keep talking, there's documents about nuclear this. Trump didn't say that. They say it. That's number one. Number two, he doesn't have the foggiest idea what Hillary Clinton had. I read to you 2 weeks ago, that's why I work hard on this research to try and bring it to you, an expert from about 7 or 8 years ago who had worked at the State Department and worked in this area, and he said, we don't know how much classified material actually passed through her private server. We can't be sure. But this guy's sure because he works for CNN. He worked for CNN. He's on the new fake Firing Line show, and there he is. He's saying, we don't really know. Unreasonable. Go ahead.
Over 100 documents that went to our most core national security issues.
How do you know that, pal? Will somebody please explain to me how this information Trump has is the most important information since the information on the atomic bomb? And this guy's just talking about it. We have some of the most important information ever. Trump had some of that. How does he know? Because it's been leaked by the government, because it's in their filings. And that's the conclusion he draws. I hope Mr. Trump's lawyers are paying some attention to what I'm saying over the past few days. Hope they're watching Life, Liberty, and Levin from last Sunday. Make sure you watch it this Sunday, lawyers. Go ahead.
Willful disobedience and obstruction by Donald Trump. The fact that he lied, this is the second half of the indictment, that he lied to his lawyers to get them to lie to DOJ and the grand jury. So I don't necessarily agree that what Hillary Clinton did could not have been
this is very weird to me. So he knows because the government has said so. The filings are secret on the issue of attorney-client privilege and the crime fraud exception. You know how easily I could chew these guys up? It frustrates the hell out of me. That I can't confront them, that I got to do it this way. But better this way than no way, right? Mr. Former federal prosecutor, how the hell do you know what was even said by Jack the Ripper Smith to the judge, since it's all filed in secret? How the hell do you know what the judge's order was, since it was all issued in secret, except for some selective leaks by prosecutors, not former federal prosecutors, but by existing federal prosecutors? You wouldn't know any of this. So why are you saying these things? Moreover, does he know what the word intent means? Does he know what the word specific intent means? Donald Trump has said for the last months on TV and interviews recently with Brett, he believed those documents belonged to him. And if he didn't believe they belonged to him, he also believed he declassified them. Now, you don't have to agree with them, former federal prosecutor, but you have to prove intent to prove obstruction. You can't obstruct by accident. You can't obstruct if you didn't intend to obstruct. So the question is, how do we determine what was on Donald Trump's mind? We don't have to guess about that. That's not secret. He's told us. I believe they was my documents. They're among all these other documents of mine, and whatever was classified, I felt like I declassified them. There you go. So what's the intent? Did he say, oh, I'm taking these documents because I want to sell them to the enemy. Taking these documents because I want to blackmail Biden. I'm taking these documents to shake down the government for money. That's what's meant by that. And then I saw another jackass story from some phony reporter. Some guy's getting 4 years. Did what Trump did. He's getting 4 years. No, he didn't do what Trump did, number one. Number two, has anybody ever heard of the Presidential Records Act? It's not the Everybody in the World Act. It's the Presidential Records Act. Presidents have a right to take documents with them. The question is which documents, under what circumstances, and so forth. With an Obama federal judge who 11 years ago ruled in Washington, D.C., that when it came to Bill Clinton and classified information on tapes that he kept in his sock drawer, only Clinton could determine what was and was not governmental, what was and was not private or / personal. That even the court didn't have judicial review powers. Even the court couldn't order information released by Clinton to the National Archives for a FOIA request. That the court lacked the power. Is this former federal prosecutor? No, of course he knows it. Why didn't he say anything about it? He didn't want to say anything about it. Why, he's on firing line, a fake firing line. By the way, they should change the name of firing line, Mr. Producer, to the fake firing line. You know, everything's fake. We got fake electors, fake. This is the fake firing line. When you think of firing line, you think of the great Bill Buckley. You think of great guests like Thomas Sowell, like Dr. Friedman, Hayek, Mises. Who else? Just great, great thinkers. And you think of this, and who are the schlubs that come on there? Well, actually, thinking former federal prosecutors. You know how many former federal prosecutors there are? About 12 billion. You know how many good former federal prosecutors are? About 12. How do I know this? Because I'm watching TV. It's like a conga line. They just keep coming in. One, former federal. But there are only certain good ones. Good ones. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile. If you're with them, you're overpaying, pure and simple. Pure Talk can easily save your family over $900 a year. Right now, get unlimited talk, unlimited text, and ultra-fast 5G data for just $20 a month. $20 a month. What about the coverage, you ask? It's phenomenal. I'm on it. Pure Talk uses the most dependable 5G network in the nation. Just go to puretalk.com and use promo code Levin Podcast to get unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data. Just $20 a month. Pure Talk's amazing U.S. customer service team will make switching very easy. So choose a veteran-owned company that cares about keeping jobs in America and saving you money. Go to puretalk.com. Use promo code Levin Podcast for unlimited talk and text with plenty of 5G data for just $20 a month. Again, when you go to puretalk.com and use promo code Levin Podcast, you'll save an additional 50% off your first month with Pure Talk. By the way, I hope you have a great weekend. We're going to have a great weekend. The grandkids are in town. Daughter's in town. Come on over here a second, Lauren. Come here. My beautiful Lauren. Your husband's in Nashville watching the dog, right?
Yeah, I didn't even invite him on this trip.
That's because you don't want to leave the dog with strangers, right?
Exactly.
Exactly right. So, you're back in your old house. What do you think?
I'm with my favorite person.
Oh, my goodness.
Also, in my whole life, my dad's never had me come on here to talk.
I've never had you on the air?
Literally never.
Well, at least now you can talk. Maybe you were too little. You couldn't really say anything.
I always said I was going to call in and surprise you, but I never did.
Now you don't have to call in and surprise me. Mr. Producer, maybe we can find that song she sang for hour 3.
Yeah,
remember that?
We're good.
I think we'll play that song. All right, sweetie, I love you.
Love you, Daddy.
So I've had many, many hard months here in terms of getting the book ready for you folks, and a couple of health issues and traveling between Florida and Virginia, and my wife having some health issues, and we have 2 little puppies who you can hear in the background from time to time who still aren't house trained. I think we've had them now 2.5 months. But I just expanded the area in which they could travel, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so proud of myself. I had my buddy Justin, my buddy Josh, my buddy David, my buddy Mike, all separately. These are great guys. They are my buddies. Help put these gates up and everything else. So we've like doubled the area where they can travel, right, honey? Because I hate to see them in crates. And you don't need to send me advice. We're going to have to get the trainer back in here to help us. But we walk them like 5 or 6 times a day, trying to get them. This is where you do that. This is where you do this. Do it on the neighbor's lawn. Then I take off. No, I'm just kidding. I don't. They actually do it on our lawn. And the neighbor's lawn, but we pick it up. It's the deer. That's their crap that's lying all over the place, not the dogs. All right, we got a lot more, ladies and gentlemen. I shall return. Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile. If you're with them, you're overpaying, pure and simple. Pure Talk can easily save your family over $900 a year. Right now, get unlimited talk, unlimited text, and ultra-fast 5G data for just $20 a month. $20 a month. What about the coverage, you ask? It's phenomenal. I'm on it. Pure Talk uses the most dependable 5G network in the nation. Just go to puretalk.com and use promo code Levin Podcast to get unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data. Just $20 a month. Pure Talk's amazing U.S. customer service team will make switching very easy. So choose a veteran-owned company that cares about keeping jobs in America and saving you money. Go to puretalk.com. Use promo code Levin Podcast for unlimited talk and text with plenty of 5G data for just $20 a month. Again, when you go to puretalk.com and use promo code Levin Podcast, you'll save an additional 50% off your first month with Pure Talk.
He's from the city and I'm just a small town girl. He goes out and I'm stuck in my own world.
That's my little girl right there.
For the first time, my patience
not Taylor Swift.
Wearing thin. But I don't know how to get to him.
That's my daughter. Here it comes.
Baby, I'm just a falling star, so don't you crush my paper heart.
All right, let's phase that out, Mr. Producer. So, honey, here's the singer of that song, Lauren. You remember when you taped that? Recorded?
Yes, that song's almost like 15 years old.
It's like 15 years old, and it was written specifically for you, right?
Yep, by my friend,
You allowed to mention who that is?
Andrew Goldstein.
Andrew Goldstein. And I wanted you to get into this, and you really either didn't or you didn't know how, right?
And now I'm married to a songwriter.
Now she's married to a great songwriter in Nashville.
Yep.
There we go.
Music City.
There we go. We have great kids, all of them. You've done great things. We've got your brother Chase was one of the greatest World of Warcraft players in the world. Now you might say, oh, big deal. No. In the world, I think he was like number 8 for a while. And he's very creative, really, so forth. Then we have Jenna. I won't say where, because I don't want people harassing her. A doctor, a great doctor, one of the great medical schools, medical facilities in the country. I'll say Johns Hopkins. Then we have David, who's like a brainiac. He's like the Rain Man when it comes to foreign policy, and he's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. And he worked with Ambassador David Friedman, U.S. Ambassador to Israel. He was a special assistant to him, and now he's works very closely with pro-American people in this country as well as that country. So there you have it. We're very blessed in this family, and we have 2 dogs here now, 2 puppies who are great. What's your Instagram say? What is it? You know I don't know any of this stuff. I don't want people to bother you. You have no idea. We have 98% of the people here are great, and then we've got the 2% that will cause us trouble. So I don't want to give out that information. She's very bashful. Yeah. Anyway, so there you have. People say, we want to know more about it. I can only go so far. Plus we have, program directors. Not really program directors. Some station owners. Actually, one station owner. Who is a putz. In my opinion. I won't say the name because that would be problematic. And you stick to the... Nonetheless, this is what I do. All right, let's get back to business. I know. It's Friday. The foot's on the gas pedal. I want you to know what these people in the media think of you. Eugene Robinson. He hates your guts. He's at the Washington Compost. In my view, the way he talks about people and so forth is very bigoted. Mika Brzezinski. Her father, Zbigniew Brzezinski, was a real Israel hater, if you get my drift. And a complete failure as a national security advisor to Jimmy Carter. Nobody's proud of having served in foreign policy for Jimmy Carter, and I'm not going to attack Jimmy Carter because he's a very ill man right now, quite frankly, and I'm not going to do that. But here's Mika Brzezinski, who really hasn't accomplished a damn thing in her life, as best as I can tell. They failed at radio, she and her big dumb husband. Hey, Mika. Yeah. Let's pretend we're broadcasting from Washington. Okay. Even though we're in Jupiter, Florida. By the way, Mika and Joe, if you ever see me in Jupiter, Florida, immediately turn around and walk in the other direction. Turn around, walk in the other direction. Don't even say hello. And don't start with me either. Don't start with me either. You know where the libs live in Florida? Just north of Jupiter, Florida, Mr. Producer. Jupiter's named after a planet. Can you believe that? But they live in a community above Jupiter, Florida. I think it's named after a planet, too. Uranus, I think it's called. You ever been there, Mr. Producer? I don't recommend it. All right, just be careful. Here's Mika Brzezinski on the Morning Schmo, her husband's show. Boy, that must be tough. Cut 11, go.
You know, you look at the Republican Party, just one final thought here, and it's just inhumane on so many levels, whether it's pushing an unhealthy gun culture where everyone should have an AK-47.
Okay, is that what we say? Everyone should have an AK-47 and we're pushing on everybody? Go ahead.
Lying to migrants.
What is she, a peanut brittle for a brain? Peanut brittle. I'm in the mood for peanut brittle. That's why I mentioned it. Go ahead.
On planes and tricking them and dumping them places, or forcing children who were raped to carry babies to term.
Oh, I see. And you're so worried about those children, aren't you, on the border? You've been down to the border. You've told your big pal, big dummy Joe Biden. No, not your husband. He's the other big dummy. But you've told big Joe dummy the Biden about the rape that's going on the border as a result of his policies of the sex trafficking and everything else. It's one thing to have a moral belief based in your faith and in science on humanity that you would disagree with, Mika. It's quite another thing, as a matter of policy, to have a border open so people are being raped, sexualized, murdered, sold into slavery. You're worried about little kids? You have a funny way of showing it. You and that big dummy you sit next to. Like I said, I see you in Jupiter. Stay away from me. I want nothing to do with you. Just turn around. You know how liberals do it. They just turn around, like they're doing a minuet. They turn around and they head in the other direction. Oh, did you know who that was? I can hear it now. Talking to each other. Joe. Yeah. There he is. He's over there. What, Mika? What are you talking about, Mika? What's his name? He's at gate 32. We have to get the gate 34. You know how they have the even numbers on one? You gotta get the gate there. We walk past him and... I don't know what we do, Mika. I had to go to the men's room. How do we get around gate 32 without bumping into him? We got to get to gate 34. So they walk quickly, The libs, they walk quickly, their heads down. Like you're not going to see these two. One of them is a big schmo, and the other one has, like, the whitest hair since an albino, I think. It's very white. I don't know what's going on there, and I'm not trying to put them down. I'm just saying this is what's going on out there. Oh, Mr. Producer, I think I'm going to need a bodyguard, don't you? Security. I know what I would do. The guys that pushed... By the way, all the flights I take back and forth, I can't tell you how many people fake it to get into those chairs that people push. They're not wheelchair. I don't know what you call them, that the airlines have. They just lie. There they are in Burger King. They're chowing down. They're having a good time. They got a little dog on their lap. Little husband following behind, hunched over. They're doing just for, hey, I want the senior citizen special, 5% off on the coffee. Typical libs. And they're going to the gate, and all of a sudden they have a limp. Their back hurts, their ass hurts, their head hurts. All of a sudden, and by the way, I'm not talking about the legits, the legitimate case. I'm talking about, I remember taking a flight, I think it was from the United States. It was to Israel, one of the few trips I took there. It's a long flight. The guy gets off. He's in the wheelchair. And they wheel him to the luggage. I see him 20 minutes later. He's running to his car. Running to his car. Be right back.
Mark Levin.
Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile. If you're with them, you're overpaying, pure and simple. Pure Talk can easily save your family over $900 a year. Right now, get unlimited talk, unlimited text, and ultra-fast 5G data for just $20 a month. $20 a month. What about the coverage, you ask? It's phenomenal. I'm on it. Pure Talk uses the most dependable 5G network in the nation. Just go to puretalk.com and use promo code Levin Podcast to get unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data. Just $20 a month. Pure Talk's amazing U.S. customer service team will make switching very easy. So choose a veteran-owned company that cares about keeping jobs in America and saving you money. Go to puretalk.com. Use promo code Levin Podcast for unlimited talk and text with plenty of 5G data for just $20 a month. Again, when you go to puretalk.com and use promo code Levin Podcast, you'll save an additional 50% off your first month with Pure Talk. The reason I played Mika Brzezinski is because now I want to play Eugene Robinson of the Washington Compost. Listen to how he trashes you. Cut 10, go.
He was the person who allowed all these anti-democratic forces in the Republican Party, these authoritarian forces, these you could call them these fascist forces, to find expression and to emerge, and you see the result, and the rest of the party is just going along with it. It is amazing, and there has to be a reckoning, an electoral reckoning, a reckoning at the ballot box, a rejection of where Donald Trump has taken one of our two great political parties. All right,
that's enough. But I played him and Mika before because I want you to understand. This is how they talk about you all the time. Now it's out in the open, but also behind your back. You're the fascists. You're undemocratic. They go more beyond that. You're the white supremacists. You're the neo-Nazis. You're the Klansmen. This is how they talk about you. Whether you're white, black, and it doesn't matter. They literally hate you. You're to be controlled. We need to regulate you. We have a common good. Your individuality is crap. And who are these people? What is the force that unites them? The force is American Marxism. What is the entity that unites them? The Democrat Party. That's why Joe left the Republican Party. He's either an independent or he's a Democrat. Mika Brzezinski, Democrat. Same with AG Robinson. Same with him. Same with all of them. This entire Marxist movement. It's not just embraced by the Democrat Party. It is the Democrat Party. It is the Democrat Party. This is why it's so crucial that we expose them the way they attack us. They claim to expose us. But it's themselves that they're exposing. The Democrat Party hates America because it hates you. You're America. America isn't some idea, even though it is an idea. It's more than that. It's much more than that. It's you. You're America. And they want to control you. They want to push you. They want to pull you. They want to shove you. They want to tell you what you can drive, what you can eat, when you can drive. They want to control your pensions. They want to control what your house is made of. They want to control everything. The Democrat Party hates America. This is what we need to get across, folks. Folks, now's the time. There is no future time. Now is the time. They're on the move. They're out of the closet. Mika Brzezinski, Eugene Robinson. They're all out of the closet. Obviously, I don't mean that sexually. They're out of the closet. They're telling you what they think. And they are members, advocates, leaders, surrogates for the Democrat Party. I want to encourage you as best as I know how. Please go online, Amazon, You can go to Barnes & Noble, Books A Million others, Amazon. Let's get the number up. I want you to have this book as soon as it comes out, right in your hand so we can get going. I'll be right back.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811. Yellow. 877-381-3811. We got a great Life, Liberty, and Levin for you on Sunday. Isn't it exciting listening to this show? Seriously. And being involved with the various programs I'm involved in with you, for you. They're always new. Excuse me. Cholera. That is, I take very few vacations, which has to change, I'm sure. I love doing new programming. I love discussing things in ways that people haven't discussed before, given my background and the way my mind works. And we never take our foot off the gas pedal. People say, well, how did you get in radio? I can't really explain it. But I feel like all of us together, we're vibrant, exciting. By exciting, I don't mean stupid exciting. Let's run across the I-95 and see if we don't get hit by. That's not what I'm talking about. Exciting, vibrant, cutting edge, substantive, plus entertaining. We have fun. 3 hours a day. You know, most hosts don't do 3 hours a day. There's a handful of us that are actually capable of doing 3 hours a day, and a large percentage of them are typically falling asleep by the third hour. Listen to me. I got more energy. I'm ready for 4 hours. Now, that doesn't mean the audience won't go somewhere. You know, you got things to do. You're going to, it's dinner time, you know, the Mets are on, the Cardinals are, whatever. We do the best we can, obviously. But when you think about it, 3 hours, this is why most radio hosts don't do 3 hours. Or if they do 3 hours, they have a sidekick. Now, you never can tell which the sidekick is because they're never going to agree who's the sidekick. Or they have a sidekick. And that's great, too. Don't get me wrong. Or they'll have 12,000 guests on. I got that, too. I understand it. I don't bring on guests unless I think they're actually going to add to the substance of our knowledge base. Whether it's TV or radio. Or we're going to have a little fun like my daughter and so on. But that's it. I'm not looking to have guests on. I'm not Larry King. Hey. How many wives did he have, by the way, Mr. Producer? He had more wives than Elizabeth Taylor had husbands, I think. He had more wives than Henry VIII, I think. By the way, a tremendous radio broadcaster. I won't speak to all of his views on TV and politics, but he was a tremendous radio broadcaster. He really was. He had 7 wives? Okay, well. Not all at once. I mean, he's one after another. It's, you know, in certain parts of the world, they have 7 wives. That's not what I meant. He had 7 wives, but not all at once. So I want you to understand that these people hate our guts, and that it's time to identify them. Who are they? We have this fantastic show Sunday. We're going to have Will Scharf on. Remember, that's the gentleman. He's running for Attorney General of Missouri. The Show Me State. Whoo! I bet Hunter would like to be there. But anyway, he's on the program. He is brilliant. He is fantastic. You hear all these legal analysts go on and on. They haven't even thought of the things this guy's thought of. We have a great conversation. The second half of the program, I want to help expose something with your help. And that is, Joe Biden is now selling us out to the Islamo-Nazi regime in Tehran. He's selling us out. He wants to give them potentially hundreds of billions of dollars, that Trump cut off. They have all but put down their protesters there. They've murdered these people. They raped the women because they're fundamentalists, you know. They really believe in faith. And I want to talk about this because Iran now has intercontinental ballistic missiles that can reach the United States. And they have nuclear material. And now they're just having to combine the two. And Biden's going to do that for them. And nobody's talking about this. And by the way, the agreement that Biden's working on will only be oral. It will not be in writing. It will not be submitted to Congress as is compelled by law and by the Constitution under the Treaty Act provision. Nobody's talking about this. How did they get this technology for an ICBM? From China. They're working with China and they're working with Russia. So while we have these stiffs in our country that go on and on, I think we're really out of our league if we're not, I say to them, where do you cut? Well, so where do we draw the line? Kansas. I mean, I'm mocking them, obviously. But you're talking about hypersonic missiles with nuclear warheads. You're talking about killer satellites that can knock out our grid. You're talking about now a spy base and the training base that the communist Chinese are working out with the communist Cubans. Both sides of the Panama Canal. We built that canal. Now being managed. And by the way, you know who sold us out? Yes, Carter and the Democrats and the Republicans. It was Reagan who ran against getting rid of the Panama Canal. Against Gerald Ford in the Republican primary. Yeah, I wonder what Christie would have said about that. Anyway, Ron DeSantis today at the Faith and Freedom Coalition. You heard that Christie was booed down, right? Christie was booed down. Then he starts yelling at the audience. That dumb guy. Okay, we'll be that way. Well, okay. Here's Ron DeSantis at the Faith and Freedom Coalition today. Cut 13, go.
For far too long, we've had a lot of Republicans that get into office, and they're almost like potted plants. They don't want to lead. They don't want to they want to follow polls, have their finger in the wind. They do not want to take on fights that are going to lead to the media attacking them or the left attacking them. And so what they end up doing is, they'll do a tax cut here, something there, but they tend to defer to the media. They defer to corporations. And what that means in this day and age is that the left will win because they're going on all fronts. They're pushing their agenda.
Let me tell you something. A lot of you folks out there support Trump. I do understand that 100%. But there's no reason to put this guy down. There's no question he's presidential material. No question whatsoever. And there's others you might like and who are very nice. They go, well, you got a positive message, wouldn't it? And they don't tell you what their message is. It's a message you get in a fortune cookie. Today is your day. Oh, today? Today is your day. Honey, today's our day. I better do whatever I'm going to do. It's today. Play these numbers in the lottery. And the schmuck goes to here, let me read this. Where are my glasses? I saw how these fortune cookies are made, by the way, Mr. Producer. Years and years ago, when San Francisco was actually a fairly safe town, people wanted to go there rather than defecate there. They have the biggest Chinatown in the country. And we went into one of these restaurants, and there were two old Chinese ladies sitting in their chairs who would put their hand in a huge cardboard box filled with these little tabs or tags or whatever you want to call them with the little fortunes on them. And they would have these little fortunes on them. And they were putting them in the in the fortune cookies. That's what you're reading. Oh, look at that. What's your fortune? Now, it's one thing for fun, but people actually follow this stuff. People actually follow this stuff. Not me. I just say, give me the spring rolls. Go ahead.
They're pushing their agenda through corporate America. They're pushing their agenda through an unaccountable bureaucracy. If all you say you're going to do is sit there and only deal with taxes and certain spending issues, then you're giving away the game. So you need full spectrum leadership. You need to understand that the threats to freedom are not limited to what happens in an election or even in the halls of government, but it extends far broader than that. We understand that in Florida, and that's why we've become the free state of Florida, because we've protected this freedom all across the board.
He's head and shoulders over all the rest of the pack, the also-rans. It's he and Trump, in my view. I'm not trying to be rude. These are the guys, these two are head and shoulders over anybody else. Doesn't mean I don't like some of the others. Doesn't mean if they want to come on that they can't come on. I want them to speak. Doesn't mean I won't be polite to most of them. But these words speak to me. They speak to me, and they speak to many of you, if you're honest with yourselves. This is what I believe in. And for Trump, he's done a lot of these things as well, which is why they want to destroy him and take him out. He's done a lot of these things as well. I have people, again, who come up to me and say, I can't decide between one or... Well, you don't have to decide yet anything. We're not voting yet. But this is why they keep pushing Chris Christie on the weekend shows. You see a lot of Chris Sununu. The guy's not even running. He's a schmo that runs a small state. Not that New Hampshire isn't beautiful. It is beautiful. But he's irrelevant. But this guy does. The things that he says definitely speak to me. Because you know he's right about Republicans. Tax cut here, a regulation there, we'll back there. All you're doing is you're not even managing our decline. You're contributing to it. This is why he is despised by Mika Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough, who chose to live in Florida. Chose to live in Florida with this man as governor. And as he mentioned on our show last night, and I didn't know this, Gavin Newsom's in-laws live in Florida. And in fact, have been donors to him. Pretty funny. Wonder what Thanksgiving's like there. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Here we be. All right, I want to get into some other things here, folks. Things are going on now in Russia. Very, very interesting. I want to read this to you. This is from DW.com. The Wagner head, Prigozhin, remember the Wagner group? I did a show on that. Says Russian army attacked his forces. This is from a few hours ago. He says, he's the head of this mercenary group. We were ready to make concessions to the defense ministry, surrender our weapons, he said in an audio message released by his representatives. Today, seeing that we have not been broken, they conducted missile strikes at our rear camps. See what's been going on? Now there's a war broken out between regular army and the Wagner group because this guy was getting too powerful. The Wagner head said the evil of the Russian leadership must be stopped. Those who destroyed our lads, who destroyed the lives of many tens of thousands of Russian soldiers, will be punished. I ask no one other resistance. There are 25,000 of us, and we are going to figure out why chaos is happening in the country. He put out this video. The Wagner chief said he was carrying out a march for justice in retaliation against Russian military leadership rather than a coup. The alleged attack on Wagner forces came just hours after Prigozhin, the head of the Wagner group again, lashed out at Russian military leaders saying they deceived Putin into launching the invasion of Ukraine. He said the Russian Defense Ministry denied his claims of an attack, saying that Wagner's head allegations do not correspond to reality and are an informational provocation. So they're out to kill him now, and I think he's out to kill some of them. He made fiery remarks, the Wagner Group leader, which criticized Russia's rationale for commencing the assault on Ukraine. I wonder how the Putinoids are going to react to this, which began on February 24th last year. He alleged that the Russian Defense Ministry is trying to deceive society and the president and tell us how there was crazy aggression from Ukraine and that they were planning to attack us with the whole of NATO. Yeah, he's right about that. That was always a lie. The Wagner chief referred to the official Kremlin justification for the war as a beautiful narrative. He said the special operation was started for different reasons, referring to the Russian government's preferred term for the invasion. Prigozhin claimed that the assault on Ukraine was launched so that Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu could become a marshal and receive military accolades. The rank of marshal is the highest in the Russian military, with only one former Minister of Defense having received the title so far. Contrary to Moscow's claims, he said, the war wasn't needed to demilitarize or denazify Ukraine. Although I still have a guy I know who really spends time in belief. This is what he says all the time. It's like that all the Nazis are running Ukraine. It's so preposterously stupid. Putin has said the Russia's assault on its neighbor was necessary to purge Nazis from the country's leadership, an attempt to appeal to Russia's historic pride over defeating Nazi Germany. Yet the argument runs contrary to the fact that Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky is Jewish, with the Ukrainian leader having lost family due to the Holocaust. He said the real reason the Wagner Group leader for the invasion was material assets. They wanted the assets that Ukraine had. They wanted the wheat, they wanted the farms, they wanted the fuel. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin, the thunder on the right. Call in now, 877-381-3811.
Former President Barack Milhouse Benito Obama said yesterday on the Constipated News Network on a special, Obama and Amanpour. Excuse me? Obama and Amanpour. You know what that sounds like, mister? It sounds like a it sounds like a sheets company. You know what I mean? Like bed, whatever, and Beyond, which now went out of business. Here's the audio. Listen to this, folks. Go ahead.
The polarizations that we've seen in our national politics is not identical to what's happening on the ground. But what is true...
by the way, this guy knows what's happening on the ground with his special wall there on the ocean, Martha's Vineyard, and all his multi-million-dollar estates, and taking yachts with his Hollywood, but he knows what's going on the ground. Can anybody anywhere in America tell me the last time they saw Barack Milhouse Obama in their neighborhood? Anywhere. Go ahead.
Partly because of where people are getting information these days. The siloing of information. If you are watching Fox News, I've said this before, if you're watching Fox News or following some right-wing radio host...
All right, stop. There's only a couple of us who do radio and are on Fox. And these lefties hate my guts. You can see the increase in personal attacks that are taking place out there on different sites. I'm not going to tell you which. I used to say to Rush, Rush, if it wasn't for you, I'd be taking a lot of these arrows that you're taking. And he said to me, that day will come. Cholera. That day will come. Well, that day has come. And what I find is that a lot of people, like Obama on the left, they listen to this show and they watch the Sunday show because they want to know what we, collectively, they claim, think. It's like going to the zoo and then going to the reptile house. Now, how can anybody go here? It stinks. And that's how they view us. Go ahead.
Getting Facebook feeds within that bubble, your reality is different than if you read the New York Times or watch your program. And
have I not said that specifically, Mr. Producer? I've specifically said that. So there's no question that he or some of his stooges are listening to this program. That's okay. Go ahead.
When people are getting such fundamentally different facts or what they think to be facts, and their worldviews are so...
this guy thinks every word he says is historic, should be chiseled in some building somewhere. His affectations are unbelievable. Go ahead.
In one direction or another.
Yeah.
And it's very hard for democracy to work. So this is the reason why I've been spending a lot of time both in the foundation and in other work talking about these problems of misinformation.
This is like the king of misinformation and disinformation. It really is amazing, isn't it? I want to keep moving. I only have an hour, less than an hour left. And like I said, I need a fourth hour, particularly in New York. I've mentioned this group to you before, ProPublica. Have you ever heard of ProPublica, ladies and gentlemen? It is a phony news organization in San Francisco. Maybe they've moved since then. Maybe they've moved to Florida like most leftists. We're trying to get away from what they destroyed. It's what I call locusts, you know. It's like locusts. They moved into Virginia from Maryland and other parts and destroyed Virginia. County I'm in, Loudoun County, we can't elect Republicans right now. The Democrats just reelected in their primary Soros prosecutor with 56% of the vote. She's a nut. But I digress. ProPublica. ProPublica is this front group, in my opinion, receives an enormous amount of money, dark money, from Democrat billionaires, and they won't release their identity and won't release their names. That's why we call it dark money. And, of course, the left always complains about dark money when, in fact, they benefit from it more than anybody. Like Zuckerturd putting all that money into Philadelphia and these other cities. His $417 million, that's nothing to him. What do you see, Mr. Producer? He's doing martial arts now. Have you noticed that? Oh, yes, he says he could take Elon Musk. I'll bet Musk. Elon, one good punch in the nose, the guy will go down like a typical lib from... Anyway, so, ProPublica. ProPublica has been doing these hits on conservative justices. They go back and look at their disclosure forms. So they did a hit on Clarence Thomas. Now they've done a hit on Sam Alito. They did a hit on Neil Gorsuch. All phony, fraudulent nonsense. Look at this, the three conservatives. They're all unethical. Look at them. They should have recused. All of it's a lie. It's a lie. They need to recuse. It's not unethical. There's no conflicts of interest. Nothing. But, you know, you have to undo this stuff. So, of course, to take up the mantra is Little Dick Durbin from Illinois. You've seen Little Dick before. He's out there. Little Dick Durbin's on the Senate floor all the time. In fact, I think I should go in the gallery and just yell down at him and say hello to him one day, don't you, Mr. Producer? Hey, Little Dick! I mean, Durbin! Little Dick Durbin! I'm sure if I said what I just said, about 18 senators would look up, don't you, Mr. Producer? Even maybe some of the ladies. Can't say ladies. Nonetheless, ProPublica, they get all this money, millions from these dark operations. And of course, they don't attack Sotomayor, who really is the one that has violated, in my view, conflicts of interest and should have recused when it came to her publisher. Her publisher actually had cases in front of the court, and she made millions of dollars from this publisher. But nobody's calling for Sotomayor or whatever to get off the court. So little Dick Durbin of Illinois, he says he's sick of this and it's time for hearings. They already had hearings. And, of course, AOC, she wants to impeach everybody who's not like her because that's what little Marxist pieces of crap do. May I say that with all due respect. There's a great piece in the New York Post by Glenn H. Reynolds. They still running ads, you know who, in the New York Post, Mr. Medusa? Am I still being left out of these ads? I guess I'm too big to fit into the ad. That's my guess. Another day, another hit piece on the Supreme Court. This time we're pro-Pubica targeting Justice Samuel Alito. Now, we went into this case before. But this is how it works. It's all focused on a handful, the three conservatives on the court. And I want to say one other thing about this. Sam Alito. I think Sam Alito really does remind me of Antonin Scalia. He's smart as hell. His opinions are brutally good. Doesn't have a sense of humor, but I don't care. It's a serious business. And I can't think of a single opinion he's written that I disagree with. Even today, 8-1 decision. A phony standing issue. And who writes it in the majority? Of course, Kavanaugh. And I warned everybody about Kavanaugh, but the Federalist Society backs him. Well, I didn't. But I supported the effort to defend him against the smears. That's two totally different things. I even got calls from judges in Washington. One in particular was a friend of mine. He called. I hope he still is. You're too hard on him. I said, I'm not hard enough. But Alito was the one, 8-1. There's a standing issue. I don't understand. Are not the states spending billions of dollars because of federal policy and the refusal to deport illegal immigrants, including criminals? The court rules 8-1. They don't have standing. They don't have standing to tell the executive branch to get tougher on criminals. We've never had a case like this. Well, we've never had a fact pattern like this either. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the week is almost over and the weekend has almost begun. And I just want to encourage you to watch the Sunday show. You're going to learn a lot. It's going to be very, very interesting. Those of you who regularly do this, I want to thank you. We have a very, very loyal group out there, and I want to thank all of you. I don't think I do that enough. You got other things to do on Sunday, which is why you can DVR it, by the way. And 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central. I hope you can watch it live. If not, I really do hope you have set your DVR every week for Life, Liberty, and Levin. It's very, very important. And also, those of you who are so loyal, who've already jumped in on The Democrat Party Hates America, this book is for you. It's for you, your kids, your grandkids, your family. And I want us to get on this. We have a big election coming, and that's the intent of the book, to really brutally undress that party and sink it. Maybe not once and for all, but soon once and for all. I'm telling you, folks. Anyway, I look very much forward to September, 19th, when the Democrat Party Hates America comes out. But I look forward every day to seeing if we can get to number one on Amazon. That'll demonstrate to me that we've got a very powerful effort taking place here. We go to America every Friday in honor of you. Here we go. Liberty and Levin this Sunday. Blockbuster show, A Killer, 8 p.m. Eastern. Please watch it. If you can't watch live, set your DVRs. I'd set it anyway, just in case, frankly. And please don't forget to make a little trip over to Amazon or one of the other sites and grab your early pre-order copy of The Democrat Party Hates America. We salute our armed forces, police officers, firefighters, emergency personnel, the men and women, the freedom fighters in Ukraine and in Taiwan, our trucker brothers and sisters. Good night, Spritey and Griffey. Good night, Pepsi and Smokey. Good night, Zelda and Gigi and Indy and Patton. Good night, Rory. And good night, Barney and Marty. Good night, Dad. Good night, Mom. Good night, Leo. And good night, Joe. And America, see you on Sunday. See you on Amazon. And God bless each and every one of you. Have a great weekend.